Welcome to Butcher Block Horror Podcast, where we exhume horror movies from the past and cut into what makes them so delectable. I'm Kane.
I'm JD.
I'm Wolfman Jack.
Oh yeah? You're Wolfman Jack?
Yeah.
We're all confused about our identities tonight. There's all these transformations happening.
Yeah.
And today,
do you need something to
we're going
bite
to be
down on,
throwing,
JD?
today, you fucking idiots. Are you guys done?
Almost
I don't think he's done.
I'm transforming into my hairy self. Okay.
Isn't that just your normal human body?
No. Okay. I'm a werewolf now.
Today, we're going to be throwing Silver Bullet onto the slab and carving up our favorite portions to force feed to you, our unwitting victims. If you enjoy the taste of these feasts of fright, then give us a like and subscribe. Be sure to click on the bell. Consider taking a look at our website. We give you brainworms.com. This will make it a lot easier for you to give us money.
It's true.
Or they can pay us in silver.
That Coors Light sponsorship is not working out.
No, it's not. It's like it's a terrible beer or something.
Hey, easy on the Coors Light. It's not that bad of a beer. If I'm going with a domestic, I'm probably going with a Coors.
Oh, domestic?
A domestic, yeah.
Just drink PBR.
Yeah.
I prefer craft beers, but when I'm not drinking a craft beer, I will drink a Coors Light or an Old Style, just in case our listeners would like to tip me an Old Style or Coors. I'll take it.
Actually, no tipping in beer. Just go to our Patreon and pick one of the categories.
Mm-hmm. And we will
You'll be
use
happier
that
for it.
to buy
And
beer.
if you do it, then maybe your friends will do it, and then their friends will do it, and so on, and so on, and so on, and then we could be billionaires.
Yeah, here's your chance to be an internet influencer.
It's kind of like a pyramid scheme, except you don't have to sell shitty products.
No, you just have to listen to shitty product.
And the Butcher Block Horror Podcast is at the base of the pyramid where everything rolls downhill, and we'll collect the silver.
The base of the pyramid, the bottom of the...
Hey, whatever, man.
You know what? Let's stay focused. Silver Bullet. So we're doing this kind of Stephen King thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And our first...
If they hadn't noticed.
Yeah, our first Stephen King movie was Creepshow. And this is our second Stephen King movie. This would be Silver Bullet.
It's true.
Which I think these two are probably the best Stephen King horror movies to date.
Sure.
Pretty good.
You can make an argument for like The Green Mile or Stand By Me being better movies, but certainly not better horror movies. Yeah.
Yeah. These are the Stephen King horror movies then. I did say that. So we'll backtrack. The Stephen King horror movies, these are probably the creme de la creme.
No, you said it right. I was just adding to the conversation. You were fine.
I will put Pet Sematary in as an honorable mention.
Sure.
Yeah, no. I would say that, because we're going to be covering 4 movies that are Stephen King adaptations. We're going to be doing Pet Sematary and 1408.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that those 4 movies are the strongest movies. The listeners should know that I wanted to just all of the Stephen King. This whole season.
You wanted to do it, a whole season of
just
Stephen King.
Stephen King adaptations.
Just 13 back-to-back Stephen King adaptations.
But we realized that I am very different from my co-hosts in the sense that I love horror movies just for the sake of them being horror movies.
Regardless of quality.
And to milk a peak performance from me, I need
and
variety.
JD and Joe, they need actual quality.
No. I'll watch shitty movies. I'm here for that.
Okay, well, then it's really just JD's fault.
Yeah.
The reason that the listeners are not getting Stephen King adaptation season is because JD only likes good horror movies.
I like, excellent, awesome special effects and gore and blood and guts and sex and drugs and rock and roll and
urine.
No. All
don't like
other things that I listed.
Yeah,
no.
What's your favorite piss scene in a horror movie?
I can't recall.
Mine would be, man, that is tough. As far as making me uncomfortable and making me not feel good, it would be Wes Craven's Last House on the Left. That piss scene hurts me emotionally. As far as this is so terrifying that there's pee everywhere, I honestly think that Dr. Sleep has a really good piss yourself scene.
Still need to watch that.
Yeah, we can do it together as a team.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's team up and watch Dr. Sleep.
But regardless, we're talking about Silver Bullet tonight.
We are,
as part of
indeed.
Stephen King month instead of Stephen King season.
Which is wise.
Even I was going to omit Maximum Overdrive.
That's barely a movie. Come on, man.
Variety is the spice of life. Just saying.
Yeah, whatever you got to tell yourself, okay? For ruining my Stephen King season.
I'm going to be a happy camper. I'm going to be a happier version of myself. I'm going to live my best JD life with going through, a variety of horror films. That's all.
Sure.
So,
I'm down.
Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
Is an American horror film released in 1985 with a screen time of 95 minutes and a budget of $7 million.
It's the year I was born.
Hey, that's a great year. It was also the year the Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl. The last time that happened. Not that anyone cares or even that I care, but I just remember being a small child and being like, yeah, bears. Speaking of bears, the fucking werewolf in this movie looked more like a bear than a wolf, and that troubled me a bit. But anyway, the movie grossed $12.5 million. So yeah, I know Kane always loves that I add a little synopsis to the beginning, so I'm going to go ahead and...
yeah, let's do that. I like that.
Yeah, we will. Basically, the small town of Tarker's Mills, there's an insidious string of murders that take place. It's a relatively normal, quiet town. Shit starts going down, and the residents go out as an angry mob and search for this killer.
Wildly ineffective.
Yeah, it's wildly ineffective. They end up getting themselves killed.
This is less of a synopsis and more of you telling me the whole movie, JD.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway,
okay.
They can't figure it out, and people are getting picked off left and right. So,
and they think that
Corey Haim was the only person
is committing.
I mean,
crimes.
he looks like he
just as the
is most likely to turn into a werewolf. Well, no one really believes that werewolves are possible. They're just... But anyway, yeah, Corey Haim sort of puts it together and has the insight to assemble that. And yeah, that's about it. They just focus on apprehending the diabolical beast that is a werewolf.
Which, JD pointed out, kind of looks like a deformed bear.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah, half man, half bear.
Some of the metamorphosis was interesting. I thought that, well, we're going to talk about that, but
right.
There's a lot to say. It's quite rich in the special effects, and the makeup in this film was pretty solid, but we'll get there.
The movie had a weird, it wasn't sure what it wanted to be vibe, who its audience was meant to be.
No, definitely.
I didn't get
That I found confusing.
Yeah, so Silver Bullet, a great many stars. I'm going to go ahead and start, though, with Dan Attias, the director, born in Los Angeles, California in 1951. I don't know if I should add this, but today, December 4th, is actually his birthday.
Oh, cool.
Happy birthday, dude.
Yeah, right. See, but by the time our listeners hear this, it's going to be well past
the date of recording, at least.
The date we're recording this happens to be Dan Attias' birthday. Dan is a pretty solid TV director and producer. He mostly began his career in 1978. Silver Bullet is really his only feature film, which is surprising. Most of his work was done in TV. And he directed some primetime TV shows such as Miami Vice and Beverly Hills 90210. And he did quite a bit of work for HBO. He directed some random episodes of The Sopranos, The Wire, 6 Feet Under, True Blood, Entourage, which he has 2 Emmy nominations for. He did some episodes of Deadwood. Also, the regular director for the show Alias.
Wow, he did a lot of things.
Yeah.
A busy dude.
Yeah, he for sure was a very active director, especially for shows.
Mm-hmm.
We got some pretty heavy hitters here as far as the production end goes. There was Dino De Laurentiis and his wife, Martha De Laurentiis, and she was formerly known as Martha Shoemaker. So yeah, the Agostino, a.k.a. Dino De Laurentiis, he was born in Italy in 1919. He's a well-known film producer over there, involved in over 500 films, 38 of which were nominated for Academy Awards.
Yeah, he's been super involved with the movie industry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's one of the few directors who helped to get Italy recognized internationally film-wise after World War II. And he did a slight bit of acting. You know, his roles were all in the 30s and 40s. And he produced a ton of American horror films. Cat's Eye, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Halloween 2 and 3, Amityville 2, Amityville 3D. I mean, he has an incredible resume. I just have this awesome list in front of me. He worked with David Lynch. He produced Dune. And he also produced one of my favorite movies of all time, Blue Velvet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah. You can't see this right now, but I'm making the jerk off motion.
In regard to what?
Kane hates David Lynch.
Blue
so
Velvet,
much.
anything David Lynch touches.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I love Blue Velvet. I always enjoyed that
It's a great movie.
Yeah, he also produced Hannibal, Red Dragon, and Hannibal Rising. His wife, Martha De Laurentiis, she was also involved with Hannibal, Red Dragon, and she went on to produce the TV series Hannibal.
Oh, wow. That's actually pretty fucking awesome.
That is. That's really
Yeah.
Yeah, he died November 10th, 2010.
Yeah, and also she produced the film Breakdown, and there's a pretty incredible age gap, 35 years between the two of them. I started to kind of wonder to myself how bedtime went in that household. I wonder if she had to wear like safety goggles.
Wait, what?
Well, I just thought like when you're that old, do you like blow like regular loads or are they dust?
Huh. Well, after the episode, you and I will definitely we'll talk about that and we'll unpack that.
Kane will send you some instructional videos.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So yeah, anyway, the story kind of comes from Stephen King, and I'm not going to sit here and talk a bunch about Stephen King because I feel like we already did that with the Creepshow episode.
He's a modern master of the written word. That's all that needs to be said. Stephen King, I love you. I don't give a shit what these dudes think.
What?
Surely,
Stephen King just fine.
I love him as well. I truly do.
I just wanted to create drama where there wasn't necessarily.
Would you say that
he's
he's the king of horror?
All right, Joe, go ahead and turn your mic off, and
okay.
JD and
That's
I'll
fine.
take care
I'll
of
just
it.
go
Kane,
right
I understand
now.
if you don't stir the pot, the sauce at the bottom burns. So. May I add, since we're referencing food items, that fucking coleslaw disgusts me. And that happens to be so Corey Haim played the character Marty Coleslaw.
Was that a segue?
That's their last name.
Okay, that was a segue. Carry on.
It was a beautiful segue, beautifully exeted, and then I was
why don't you jerk
interrupted by
yourself
both
off?
of you. I'm just kidding. Everyone knows that. So anyway.
Can we just derail the podcast to talk about why you don't like coleslaw for a minute?
No, we're not going to derail the podcast to talk about his hatred.
I want to know why JD doesn't like coleslaw.
You know what? Fine.
Coleslaw is fucking horrific, okay? And it's automatically adds another horror element to this film for me. It's automatically more spooky.
Is it the mayo? Is it the cabbage?
It's the mayo. It's the cabbage or
that's why
whatever
you don't use
else
a straight
is in
mayo
it.
base. You just haven't had good coleslaw.
Maybe that's it. Well, maybe hopefully over the summer we can all have a barbecue together. I mean, barbecues are problematic for me anyway. I'm not a meat eater, so
Well, we can figure something out. There are always alternatives.
I may have to start appreciating coleslaw. There's a chance. So Silver Bullet stars.
Listeners, send us
Corey
your
Haim.
coleslaw recipes in the comments.
Yeah, if you could, or any other vegetarian dishes that I can enjoy during a barbecue, because that's always awkward for me. And
if I were to invite you to a barbecue, I would ensure that there was some kind of meat alternative made available to you. Because I'm not a shit person.
No, I admire that about you. I knew you would try to accommodate me, is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
You're both very accommodating. So anyway, Corey Haim, he was born in Canada in 1971 and sadly passed on quite tragically in 2010. He also passed on in 2010. That was a bad year for actors involved in this movie.
I guess so.
I'm sorry, the producer as well passed in 2010. Yeah, he had some drug abuse issues and, that were fueled by trauma and, some experiences, I'm sure, surrounding his career.
Yeah, we'll do a quick PSA.
Sure.
Any listeners that are thinking about entering their children into show business, fucking don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, think again on that.
Because it fucking consumes them and ruins their lives. Look at Corey Haim. Look at Corey Feldman. All right? Just don't do it. Just don't get your kids into
We're going to get actuallys in the comment. Well, there were some child actors that did fine, Kane.
We're never going to get actuallys because that requires people to interact with us, and no one's going to do that.
Sometimes we get comments.
It's true. I apologize for having a lack of faith in our listeners.
It probably was a rough time in his life just being a child star,
Yep. Super famous.
Money, power, all that.
And abuse.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. And all of that before the cement is dry, It's just sensory overload and overload of everything.
But you didn't come to Butcher Block Horror Podcast to listen to us wax philosophically about the dangers of child acting and whatnot. So we'll move on.
Or barbecue side items.
Exactly.
Sure. Or, especially not to listen to us banter about coleslaw. No longer with us, but he was in some pretty notable movies. Silver Bullet, obviously. License to Drive. Murphy's Romance, The Lost Boys, which he was in with another dead Corey.
No, Corey Feldman is still alive.
Is he?
Yeah, dude, he's got like a band and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought he had passed as well.
Sorry, Corey Feldman.
Yeah, sorry, Corey Feldman. I thought you were dead. Anyway, Gary Busey was fucking excellent in Silver Bullet, and he played the role of Uncle Red.
And he is also alive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm totally well aware of it. In fact, he actually beat cancer not that long ago, and they removed a plum-sized tumor from his sinuses.
And he survived a pretty serious road accident in his younger years.
He's been through a lot, and I believe he's also had some substance abuse issues. But anyway, he's appeared in over 150 films. Just an incredible actor. He was in Lethal Weapon, Predator 2, Point Break, Under Siege with Steven Seagal. I know Kane loves to talk about whooping Steven Seagal's ass in.
That's not true. I've stated that I still think there's a possibility Steven Seagal could whip my ass.
I don't know, man. I think you should tweet him and find out.
Yeah, challenge him via Twitter.
Dude, I don't want to
go into the octagon
Seagal.
with Steven Seagal. He'd probably do it.
And he would fuck me up. You guys just want to watch
don't know that.
Old man Steven Seagal. Dude, he's got reach on me. He's like 6 inches taller than me.
Yeah, it's going to be a viral YouTube video. I think it's going to make us famous.
Yeah, I'm going to grab just the part from the episode where you were talking about fighting Steven Seagal and edit around it. And then post it and tweet it at Steven Seagal with a place he can contact you to set up that fight.
If Steven Seagal contacts me about whipping my ass, I'm going to do it. And I want you guys to feel fucking bad. All right?
Seems unlikely.
But we're derailing. Let's talk about Silver Bullet.
Yeah, back to Silver Bullet and Gary Busey in particular. He was in The Firm, Carried Away, Black Sheep. Busey was even a highway patrolman in one of my favorite movies, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Love that movie.
Pretty small role, but he was in there.
He is also the judge on Pet Judge, which is on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, everybody needs to check that out. The next person I could name is Everett McGill.
Amazing.
Yeah. He played Reverend Lowe. Spoiler alert, he's the werewolf.
Oh, no! Yeah.
Yep. He's the werewolf. Anyway, he's best known in Dune and Quest for Fire. And he was a caveman in Quest for Fire.
He was also in People Under the Stairs.
The word Dune is freaking me out right now. The way I wrote it, the U is basically an N rotated counterclockwise 180 degrees and the N vice versa. Anyway, sorry.
This is a weird episode.
Not necessarily. I mean...
well, let's talk about Everett. So, What else was he in aside from People Under the Stairs and Dune, which is garbage?
Yeah, Dune sucked.
He was also known in Heartbreak Ridge, and he played Big Ed Hurley in Twin Peaks.
Yep.
So there's a lot of connections here to David Lynch, it seems.
Sadly.
I don't know how I feel about how you feel about that.
Kane hates David Lynch so much. But that's going to be another veer off the road.
Yeah, let's stay away from that. Let's
kind of twists my nipples a bit that you're not into David Lynch. It's fine though. I mean, we all like what we like. Anyway, the next person in this film is Megan Follows. She played Jane Coleslaw, born in Toronto, Canada in 1968.
She was born Megan Elizabeth Laura Diana Follows.
That's an incredibly long name.
It's a lot of names.
Known for her role as Annie Shirley in the 1985 Canadian miniseries Annie of Green Gables. And all of its sequels. She was in all of its sequels as well. She was also, she played the Queen of France, Catherine de Medici, in the TV drama Reign that was on from 2013 to 2017.
And she desperately needs to be in a sequel to Silver Bullet where she spent the last 40 years or 30 years tracking and killing werewolves.
Yeah.
I want her as the lead werewolf hunter, and that's all she's done since 1985.
She'd be similar to Jamie Lee Curtis's character in Halloween in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just waiting for Michael Myers to...
But Janie doesn't wait. Janie has been actively hunting werewolves.
Just pursuing werewolf ass for fucking 30 years.
Yeah, because the werewolf community,
yeah,
when they found out that Reverend Lowe got offed by a couple of kids, they came back a few years later and they took out Marty, all right? And they took out Uncle Red, but they did not successfully take out Janie. And she came home from her date, found her uncle and her brother dead, and she just knew. The cops, they were like, no, man, this was just some psychopath. We'll find them. And she was like, no, you won't. And she just didn't say anything else to them. She went to the gunsmith and she took all of the silver she could find. And she had just tons of silver bullets made. And she's just spent the last however long hunting down werewolves and murdering the shit out of them. And I want that movie.
Damn.
Yeah.
I say go for it.
Give me that movie.
Yeah, Stephen King, write that at once.
And I'm sure he's listening.
Yeah. I'm sure he listens. Sorry for
absolutely.
that. I apologize for derailing, but
that wasn't really a derail, though. At least that was about the movie that we're talking
Megan
about.
Follows. We need you as a werewolf hunter murdering the shit out of werewolves.
Yep.
That's all.
Sure.
Script by Stephen King.
Script by Stephen King.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's reboot for sure. So yeah, I could talk about Terry O'Quinn, who played Sheriff Joe Holler. Terry was born in Michigan in 1952, and he played John Locke on the TV series Lost.
Okay.
I didn't watch much Lost.
Yeah, I never got heavily into Lost.
And he was also in 2 films, The Stepfather Part 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing this.
He also hosted Mysteries of the Missing, which was on the Science Channel. Sounds mysterious. And then there was Bill Smitrovich, who played Andy Fairton. Smitrovich was born in Connecticut in 1947. He's appeared in a number of television series, including the 1980 show Crime Story. He was Detective Danny Krychek, and he was also in the TV series Life Goes On.
Na, life goes on.
That's right. He was also in the pilot episode of Miami Vice, and he appears in the final episode of NYPD Blue. And he's mostly known for portraying like police and military characters in the shows and films he's in.
I mean, that's a bummer for him.
So then there's Robin Groves, who played Nan Coleslaw.
Wonderful.
Yeah, right. What is Nan short for, I wonder? Nancy?
Yeah.
Nancy Coleslaw? Good old Nancy Coleslaw? Nom, 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 nom.
Sounds like a cartoon character.
Yeah, well, you know. Anyway, Groves was born in Vermont in 1945, and she's pretty much best known for her role in Silver Bullet as Nan. She was also in a film called Sliver, came out in 93, and she was in Star Trek Voyager in 95, and she played a character named Ariane Garin. Not sure if I pronounced that. I think she was like Klingon, perhaps.
Sure. It's weird how many actors get absorbed into Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Every week we're naming someone from Star Trek, it seems.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to go ahead and mention Lawrence Tierney, who played Owen Knopfler. Yep,
Like Mark
Lawrence
Knopfler?
Tierney played Owen Knopfler. Tierney was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1919.
He was like the tough guy bartender.
Yeah, he had the baseball bat. What did the baseball bat read? Do you remember?
The Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. That's a sweet thing to write on a bat. Lets your patrons know they better not fucking play games in your establishment.
Exactly.
Or you will split their coconut in two.
Mm-hmm.
They will be bludgeoned.
So yeah, he was best known for various portrayals of mobsters and tough guys, badasses, all that shit. And I think he did a pretty good job because he broke up a fight pretty successfully with his intimidation tactics. He was best known for basically being himself in movies. So apparently this guy probably should have fist fought Oliver Reed. Tierney had a few collisions with the law before his acting career began. His breakthrough role was that of the famous 1930s bank robber John Dillinger in the 1945 film called Dillinger,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And then there was Kent Broadhurst, who played Herb Kincaid. Broadhurst was born in St. Louis in 1940. He's done a bunch of Broadway stuff and regional theater. None of that interests me even in the slightest. He was also in films The Verdict, Skillwood, and Silver Bullet. And he's also done a bit of play and screenwriting. Then there's Joe Wright, who played Brady Kincaid. He actually passed on at a pretty young age, only 39. He passed on in 2009. Natural causes, though, supposedly. I'm curious about that. When someone passes at 39 of natural causes, I wonder what that actually means. But he was also in Screwed in 2006, and he was in Poison Ivy in 1985. I looked at his IMDb page, and it's very strange. It's a short page, which makes sense because his life was short, but at the end of his bio, it goes something like he acquired a good bit of wealth in his later years and bought a mansion. That's it. Just a strange way to end a bio. So yeah, very interesting, mysterious bit of information on him. Then there was James A. Baffico. He was born in 1942. Not sure exactly where. And he played the role of Milt Strumfuller.
Tammy's dad. He's a real piece of work.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he also played Mr. Woolley in Dawn of the Dead.
Also a real great guy.
He also did a bit of production in horror films. And anyway, my eye jumped down this list to a movie with an incredible title that he produced. It's called Blood-Sucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. And that came out in 1991. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is that we probably need to find that movie.
To talk about that. And I believe we will eventually. That must go on someone's list, probably mine. Then there was James Gammon as Arnie Westrom, and he was born in 1940 in Illinois. And I happen to really enjoy James Gammon's characters in his role in Major League 1 and 2. That's the baseball movie. I thought that was pretty cool. And he was also in Cabin Boy, a character named Pops.
That's an unfortunate movie to be a part of.
Probably not the best film, but it had its laughs.
Yeah.
So there was the voice of older Jane, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
And that voice was by Tova Feldshuh. So yeah, that's pretty much the extent of the cast that I'm going to get into. There was some smaller roles, but it's a bit of a list. So anyway, yeah, I could go ahead and talk about the special effects if you guys are down.
Let's jump into the special effects.
Let's do it.
So yeah, this movie has hell a lot of people involved, artists and technicians and whatnot. So I just tried to trim it down as best I could and, share the most pertinent information to Silver Bullet and all its special effects. So here I go. Jeff Jarvis, who worked on Howard the Duck in 1986, Poltergeist in 1982, and Species in 1995. He was also involved in Cat's Eye and Exorcist 2 in 1977. The special effects makeup, one of the main artists that wasn't listed as an assistant or anything, special effects makeup was credited to Michael Sean McCracken Jr. and had a pretty grand list of science fiction, including Inception and Cloud Atlas. And he was a mold maker on Phantasm 2.
Oh, nice.
He did a good bit of mold making and things like that for some of the prosthetic effects for a few other films as well, but those are the main ones that stood out to me.
I do a bit of mold making in my refrigerator.
Oh, very nice. And is it mostly on your bread, or where do you make your mold?
Different things at different times, just leftovers that I forget about.
Sure. Well, it's good to keep your refrigerator clear, and baking soda is always nice. It helps to cut some of the smell down in a refrigerator. Yeah. So anyway, Matthew W. Mungle was the makeup effects artist. Mungle was involved in 200 films, including Bram Stoker's Dracula, and a really cool title down that list, The Dorm That Dripped Blood in 1982. That seems like something we should watch.
I should probably preview it first.
Yeah. And he also, he did some work on Terminator 2 as well. That's probably the biggest thing that he did work on.
Yeah, Judgment Day, like aside from the first one, Judgment Day is those are the only two I think that are really great.
Yeah, sure. Worth watching.
So yeah, there were basically 3 people responsible for the werewolf suit creators.
You mean the bear suit?
Yeah, essentially the bear suit, sadly. But there was a little bit of a, not controversy, but just the producer that I mentioned earlier, he was like, He was pretty much the reason that bear suit stood. You know, there were others who wanted to change the werewolf, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Anyway, so there were 2 brothers, Francisco and Gaetano Palocci. I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Sure.
And then there's the actual werewolf suit, the head honcho, Carlo Rambaldi. So there's a lot to say about Carlo Rambaldi. Carlo worked on King Kong in 1976. He did a lot of the designing on that costume. He actually designed E.T. in 1982. And he's a 3-time Oscar winner for his designs in the category of special effects. He worked on the Alien in the 1979 Ridley Scott film Alien. And a lot of that was based off of the artwork of H.R. Geiger.
Is it Geiger or Giger?
I believe it's Geiger.
I think it is too, but I could be wrong.
I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not trying to be a know-it-all on the pronunciation of anyone's name, as our listeners well know at this point. I've butchered many a name.
No, it's Giger.
Oh, I'll be damned.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, Rambaldi was really instrumental in designing the alien's head and Alien, and was really big into the armatures layered with latex and pioneer-esque in the early mechanical devices, leading to more intricate animatronics that were used later on in films. I want to say that he'd passed in 2012, and his family there's a museum in Italy that's based on like the props that he made. You know, if there was any sort of like prosthetic or prop, it's in this museum. So it's kind of like a cool thing. I'd love to see that someday.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going to go ahead and, leave the cast and crew.
Should we talk about the score? Because it was in a weird place.
Yeah, it was
we could.
Very 80s soft rock in a lot of it.
There's a good reason for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the fucking list of people involved with the sound and music in this film, I mean, it's like a mile and a half long. It was hard for me to pinpoint who is directly responsible for scoring this film. And usually when that happens, I just give up.
You know what? I'm going to let you just give up.
Yeah, it wasn't like a cool horror movie soundtrack, so it's fine.
There were a couple of times where I was reminded of the 1990 It miniseries, like the way the music crescendoed. I was like, oh, that's like the It miniseries.
Sure. I was reminded of the Top Gun soundtrack a few times.
Is that because I kept singing
partially
during the watch party?
That was probably what brought it to mind. But just the vibe of it was very
right.
yacht rock.
Kenny Loggins. All right. Well, I mean, I guess then, since we can't really take apart the people that produced the score, we'll just go ahead and talk about our personal experience with the movie.
Surely.
per usual, Joe, go ahead and start us off. Yeah. First time watching this movie. It was pretty good. You know, it was an enjoyable horror watch. Neither my favorite nor least favorite of movies we've watched on this show. Again, I felt a weird kind of dissonance. Like it wasn't sure what kind of movie it wanted to be, because the special effects and like the kills were very horror movie. But then the vibe of the movie had this weird kind of kid adventurer tone to it, and like the framing of the movie and the music, a lot of it, and like Gary Busey being the cool uncle. And it had me kind of wondering who this movie was for.
It was specifically for me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Did you have any, like, well, I guess that was your question.
Yeah, that's really, that's kind of what I'm putting out there. Like,
yeah.
Who do you, are you, as a listener, do you feel like you're the target audience for this movie? And if so, why?
Nice. I like where you're going with this. JD, how about yourself?
So yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to take a few moments and just address a few things that I was thinking. I've probably seen Silver Bullet maybe two and a half times, something like that. I remember watching this in high school and really enjoying it, and then probably attempted to put it on again, and just, how that goes. But anyway, I really focused on it during the watch party, and I felt a couple different ways about how this particular werewolf was portrayed. And so for me, I look back through the history of werewolves. And so I look back and I just think, okay, like there's a lot of antiquity there, the German, Dutch, and Flemish folk tales and all of that, and kind of how it made its way into, I believe the first mainstream ever depiction of a werewolf was in 1935, Werewolf of London, and then in 1941 there was the, everyone knows, the Universal horror
Lon
film.
Chaney Jr.
Exactly, Lon Chaney Jr., who portrayed the werewolf in The
and
Wolfman.
Lawrence Talbot.
This ties in perfectly to what threw me off about this particular werewolf. In past werewolves, there was a self-awareness of the damage that the werewolf could do once, that transformation took place, and there was this fearfulness.
Right.
Lawrence Talbot, Larry Talbot, was fearful. He didn't want to harm anyone. He wanted to, I think that he was fearful to have his identity be known, but I think at a certain point he was able to wrangle his fear and say, okay, like, I know that what I become is wrong, and it's an expression of rage, and I'm, killing people against my will because I transform into this beast.
The way he walked was thorny.
Yeah, this particular werewolf, though, he took a lot of effort to conceal his identity and to hide the fact that he was indeed the murderer throughout the film, and went to great lengths to, he was almost ready to murder a boy in his wheelchair over just the idea that he knew his identity.
Well, the only reason he didn't kill Marty is because the dude on the tractor showed up.
Yeah.
He was totally going to kill him.
Yeah.
Right. And so normally, like, the werewolf is this mild-mannered protagonist that he's seeking balance. He's not seeking to become the werewolf or to harm anyone. This werewolf is very aware, very self-aware of the damage.
Which diverges pretty hard from Cycle of the Werewolf, which is what this movie is based off of. Yeah.
That's where I'm going with this. And so, like, I didn't read the bit of literature that I kind of just brushed over when we could have talked about Stephen King, but I figured if maybe we could talk about that for a second, because I think that's important now. So yeah, I'm just wondering, was that Stephen King's idea to make that type of werewolf?
Well, I know in the novel, in Cycle of the Werewolf, Reverend Lowe doesn't know that he's the werewolf until Marty sends him the letter.
This diverges then from that quite a bit, because this guy is like well aware that he's a werewolf and doing damage, and I just thought that was an interesting depiction of the werewolf, because like I said, all the other werewolves that I'm knowledgeable of were very horrified to become their hair-covered self. And they dreaded who they were, who they could become, whereas this werewolf was very, like, comfortable with that. I felt like, too, the movie kind of spoke of transformations in general. And, like, a transformation that I noticed was Gary Busey, his character, Uncle Red. He, early in the movie, is, like, basically this heavy drinking, cursing, kind of almost a bad influence, but very, very loving to his nephew. But anyway, I feel like by the end of the movie, he definitely cleaned up his life and, tried to at least, like, acknowledge what his sister was saying and tried to, clean up his act a bit for his nephew's
sake. To be
sake.
A better influence.
Yeah, just increase his ability to be a role model by making different choices. And like, so I kind of saw that as like a transformation. Maybe I'm just looking too deeply into it, but
no, I agree.
I felt like there were a few transformations taking place in the movie, and I like that at the very end, Corey Haim's character makes the joke about not being able to use his legs.
Yeah, that was good.
So yeah, that's pretty much my full impression of Silver Bullet, and I enjoyed this movie a great deal. And Kane, I'd love to hear what you thought.
Yeah, so I've seen this movie a lot. I watched it almost on repeat when I was a kid. You know, it was one of those horror movies that got turned on to by my dad.
But every now and then you'd take a break to watch The Gate, though, right?
I mean, I watched certain horror movies over and over again. You know, this was one of them. Some things that always kind of stuck out to me, you know, and it happened again tonight when we watched it together, is the facial expressions of horror and sadness. Like, the director really had his actors on point.
Oh, yeah.
A funny thing that I could toss in is, so the actor that played Brady's dad, Kent Broadhurst, his first scene filming was when they find the body of Brady in that gazebo. And the director was freaking the fuck out because the prop of this kid's body, I guess, was just fucking terrible. Like, think Spasm Snake, right?
Sure.
And the director's like, I can't fucking show this on screen. It's too fucking bad. There's no time for us to fix it. And Kent Broadhurst was like, look, I think I can sell this. You don't even have to show the body. Just stay focused on me. And I guess the director did it. And the performance that Kent gave was amazing. It was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Because of that. Yeah, he sold it so well, they never had to show the piece of shit prop that was there. But that's not part of my personal experience. I just wanted to throw that out there before I forgot about it.
No, that's really interesting.
And the image that they were able to paint in my mind was so vividly grotesque.
Yeah.
Just through their expressions. You're spot on.
Pieces. Yeah. But no, I mean, I had an obsession with this movie when I was a kid, to the point where, like I said, I watched it dozens of times, and I still love it. Like, watching it with you guys, I really had a great time watching this movie.
Definitely.
As far as like what I'd like to put out into the internet is, I desperately need, I know I've said this already, but I'm going to say it again. I desperately need Silver Bullet Part 2. And I need Megan Follows to reprise her role as Jane, Werewolf Hunter.
Would it be called Jane, Werewolf Hunter?
Oh, God, that would be even better. Not even Silver Bullet, just Jane, Werewolf Hunter. Fuck yes, that would be so good.
I don't know. Silver Bullets, plural, kind of like the aliens, could be a pretty cool name for a kind of a werewolf hunter kind of show.
Yeah, but I want it to tie in with... I think what the Jane Werewolf Hunter is pretty fucking good.
I don't know. It feels kind of generic to me.
Or they could call her Silver Werewolf Hunter because she'll probably have gray hair by now.
Stephen King, get in touch.
Yeah.
But yes, that's what I want. I want a sequel, and I want it to be, you know, Jane just killing the shit out of werewolves.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
But I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say. It's a great movie. If any of our listeners get a chance to watch this movie, tell us what you think, man. Like, let us know how this movie affects you. You can find us at wegiveyoubrainworms.com. That'll give you access to all of our social media. You can send us a message on one of those various outlets, or just click yell at us on the website. Also, we warn you against forgetting to like, follow, and subscribe.
And don't forget to click the bell.
Yeah, we pity the poor fool.
Anybody else have anything else to say?
Fucking coleslaw disgusts me.